All right, so we are very lucky to have a modern day hero join us today. This is, of course, the officer in charge of the Management Services Department at the Lung Center of the Philippines, specializing in internal medicine and also a recent vaccine recipient, the beautiful and wonderful Dr. Gloanne Adolor. Maraming salamat po for joining us here. Thank
Hello,
you.
good morning, Mike and Ross.
Good morning po. So, before we start things off, gusto ko lang kayo tanungin, kamusta naman po kayo? And not just you, also the Lung Center and the patients in the Lung Center, because I know that you are a frontliner and marami po sa atin ngayon ay talagang nakasalalay sa inyo. So, before anything else, I want to check up on you. Kamusta po kayo?
We are well, actually. We are more prepared this time. So we are fighting compared to last year when we were grappling with data, with what things to do, with processes. Now, even with the non-declaration of an ECQ or even an NECQ, we are fighting and we're better this time. We're more prepared.
That's very reassuring to hear. And I love the fact that you said that you're better. Kasi alam naman po natin as a frontliner, there's a lot of risk. As the name suggests, nasa frontline nga po kayo fighting against the invisible enemy, which is COVID-19. And since we know that the disease itself largely affects the lungs, I'm sure a lot of patients are brought to your institution and hospital, which makes you and many of your colleagues vulnerable rin po sa disease. Meron, if you don't mind me asking po, meron po ba sa inyo na-infect? And if so, how did it affect them and how are they now?
Yeah, we have a lot of employees infected. Last year, our first noted infection was actually March 10. So we had to recall that March 10, 2020, you know. So birthday niya yesterday, kunyari, no, as the first case ever reported for Lung Center. But now we have also new cases. So we really saw the spike. We just call it a spike for March during the past 2 weeks, end of February and first 2 weeks of March. There's really an increasing trend among our employees. But these are mild cases. They are in isolation in health facilities. So thank you for those who are providing us with isolation facilities. So most of them are mild cases. And for us who are living in like uncertainty if we're getting infected, if ever we're going to be affected or not, we were just trying to do our daily protocols, health protocols. In fact, now we're strictly implementing the face shield even inside the offices and double mask. And also for our non-COVID wards, usually they were just wearing a face mask, the one we use, surgical. But now we require them to use the KN95.
So talagang kompleto po yung PPEs natin and we are protecting all of the frontliners na nasa
Yes, as of now, yes, supplies are okay kasi we have support from DOH and then we still have donations coming in. But then, logistics-wise, as I said, we've been preparing for the past year. Medyo alam na namin yung mag-project ng trend. So, we know the critical point, when the PPEs are going to be used up. So we wait for that critical point.
How does it feel battling the pandemic for 1 year? Ano po ba ang pakiramdam?
Honestly, nakakapagod siya talaga because we are not isolated from our family psychologically and physically. So really in the beginning, we weren't going home. So I'm not really in the front line kasi I'm in the management services during that time. By the way, now I was transferred to another department So OIC manager ako ng ancillary. So it's more challenging. I handle the vaccine supplies kasi pharmacy is under me. Pero for the others, yung nurses, yung nasa frontline, our pulmonologists, critical care. So there was a time that they were adjusting being away from their families. So it was really tiring. So in the beginning, we weren't thinking about psychosocial support. But when we looked at each other's eye and then wala kami sinasabi pero parang naiiyak na lang, di ba? So we said, we need like a team support. So, yung first few weeks talaga, ganun. But now, at some point, we were able to generate yung strength. And then, we know where to look for parang support. So, may team efforts kami ngayon, just checking on each other. Pero, hindi kasi siya sure way of surviving this. So it's an evolving thing, but nakakapagod talaga siya kasi pag uwi namin, we still have other tasks sa bahay. Oo, kasi some of us are mothers, daughters, may inaalagaan din sa bahay. So, in the beginning, we were thankful na some of the agencies donated yung mga shelters. So, we had offers from DPWH, Office of the Vice President, na yung mga talagang may vulnerable family members, like elderly, children, hindi talaga uuwi kasi yung duty nila talaga super exposed.
And that's exactly why everything you've been through, and especially, as you said, the nurses, the doctors, even the sanitation workers inside the hospital, putting their lives at risk. Dapat naman talaga kayo po yung unang makakuha ng vaccine. And I believe nga po, Dr. Aglo, you very recently took the shot. And I hope, do you mind if we ask you what vaccine you took po?
Sinovac.
Sinovac. Are you comfortable sharing with us why Sinovac?
I wasn't particular about the brand because this vaccination program journey started even last year when we were looking at the data. So science aside, we had fears. And then when the vaccines came, yun nga, Sinovac, I didn't hesitate because I was decided to really be one of the recipients kahit anong vaccine yung dumating. Kasi we focus on the vaccination program goal nga, as I said, it is to save lives. And then in a pandemic na hindi natin kilala masyado pa yung virus kasi it's changing, then at least we have a weapon to hold on to. So that's why kahit anong vaccine yun, I had to take it. So for Lung Center, I was vaccine number 2.
No. Doctora, you mentioned nga po that what kind of brand it was not very important to you. Pero I guess for the general public, kasi arami pong reports po about these varying vaccines. Is it something we should consider po before taking the shot?
Yes, kasi that's part of being informed. Parang consumer ka pa rin di ba? Kahit hindi mo siya binili, di ba, you're getting it for free, but you have the option to think about it. So, dun sa mga natatakot, just be informed and then allow for some margin of discovery. Kasi wala pa naman talagang large population ng Pilipino na bakunahan ng mga to. So, parang discover together, di ba? Para sa ating mga Pilipino. Kasi nakikita natin side effects, ibang lahi If there were some Filipinos who were vaccinated abroad, let's look at the data. How long have they been there? Kasi let's say, ibang environment nila So, yung temperature nila. So, tayo, environment natin, ganito yung temperature natin. So, yun. You have to take that into consideration. So, now, ano yung kailangan nilang tignan? Okay lang, tignan nila kami mga healthcare worker. Ano nangyayari sa amin? Kasi kami na talaga yung first line. So, tignan nila yung data, ilan sa amin yung nagkaka-side effect. Kasi ito na yung Pilipino na nababakunahan on a large scale.
What made you comfortable to take it, and how did you feel po prior to getting the vaccine itself?
Dun sa TV medyo kita na tahimik lang ako all the time na waiting, I was actually watching a relaxing video of mountains. I'm not a scientist going into this. So, I just trust those experts who made this. And I will be part of those who will discover. So, yun. I was decided to go. My fear, hindi pwedeng mawala yun. My anxiety.
Can you also tell us what the experience was like other than that in terms of may kasama po ba kayo, yung mga ibang binaccinate, ano mga naging experience nila, and ano po ba yung mga naging concerns?
Sa amin kasi unique. We had the process, we kept practicing already. We had simulations, diba? We were on TV all the time. Pero ito, kasi ang dami yung media during that time. Medyo hindi namin na-practice yun. So, the process was like, after yun, na-vaccinate, diba? I had to go to the observation area. Tapos, kami, kasi I was a doctor, nurse yung vaccine number 3. Tapos, nurses and doctors, actually, mga kasama ko first batch, first 20. Okay, and then we were like asking each other, kumusta ka na? Sabi namin, lahat mainit pa kiramdam, mainit lang talaga. So may validation. So yung process of observation was personal. Kami, bin-monitor ng sarili namin. Tapos may mag-monitor naman talaga kasi may assigned.
Did your family have an opinion on it?
okay, I discussed this with my husband kasi doctor din siya. So sabi niya, are you sure you're getting Sinovac? Sabi ko, yes, kasi kahit anong brand naman yan, okay lang. Kasi I know, parati ako nasa battlefield. Ang weapon ko lang is the health protocol. And then yung ating mga vitamins, diba? Other than that, wala nang additional everyday I go to work. So, whatever it is. So, sabi niya, sige, I'll pray for you. Ganun. So, may peace of mind going into that. And then yung family ko, my father is also a doctor. Senior citizen siya. In fact, tomorrow is getting vaccinated kasi part of the visiting consultants of LCP is getting the other brand Astra. Kasi nang pwede sa senior. So, ganun din sila. Okay, sabi niya, go, we'll pray for you. Ganyan. Kasi pareho naman tayo ng worry. We worry about you also going to work. So, sige, go. And then my mom had informed me, anak, God bless you. Ganyan. I think nakatulong yun sa kalma ko yun sa buong proseso until the very end. Kaya after vaccination, even in that area, I was able to carry out some meetings pa after. I had a very important meeting the next day, a finance meeting. So, I was well Pati yung allergologist namin, yung specialist sa allergy, got vaccinated at the same time as I did. So, first day. So, ang sarap din ng feeling na meron kang kasama na expert siya sa allergy.
Yeah.
At tinatanong niya, kung nagka-rash ka ba? Sabi ko, hindi Ako din, sabi niya.
May nagka-rash ba sa batch niyo?
Yes.
Meron.
Yes. Ay, sa batch namin wala. Yung succeeding batches meron. Kasi kami siguro yung first batch, red. As in, alam mo yun, na-prepare.
Pero normally po yung rashes naman na ganun, it's just an immune response, di ba? How did they manage the symptoms after?
Yan naman. Kasi, lalo na pag uncertain ka, di ba? Di mo sure. So, very important yung communication with your parang experts in the hospital. So, sa amin, employees physician. Ako din natatanong kasi kami yung in charge sa vaccines. Parang, sama ba to sa adverse events? Yes, may rash talaga. O ganito, tignan mo na nangyayari sa'yo. So, continuous communication. So, the next day, kasi hindi siya nag-appear yung rash, may iba nag-appear at sa vaccination site. May iba pag uwi. So, wag matatakot pag ganun. Kasi pag natakot ka, lalo kang magkakaroon ng anxiety. Pag nag-anxiety ka, lalo magre-react yung body. Pag wala kang reaction as in zero, ayun, magtaka ka. May effect nga ba yung vaccine? Kasi kung zero, baka wala yun, baka tubig, di ba? Kasi yun nga you're supposed to have a reaction kasi it's a Sinovac. It's an inactivated virus. So, may reaction ka dapat na mild.
Doctora, can you walk us through exactly how vaccines can help us fight against this pandemic?
Okay, so regardless of how it is manufactured, for the general information, it is something that is derived from the actual virus itself, or whatever part it is, no? That's like inactivated so that it will not trigger the actual COVID-19 in your body. So once it's injected, all it needs to do is really to trigger your own defense mechanism. So gigisingin lang niya yung mga sundalo mo. So, gigisingin lang niya and then introduce lang niya exactly, pinapakilala niya yung kalaban. So, when you come face-to-face with the actual virus, it recognizes the enemy. And it's already it's already prepared kasi tatawagin na lang niya yung mga immune response mo na ready na siya.
Pwede niyo din po ba ipaliwanag sa amin kung ano po ba dapat yung expectations namin kapag nakabakuna na?
Okay. In the same manner, kasi weapon siya, diba? Weapon lang siya. A lot of it will still be dependent on you as an individual. So, meron yung hindi siya 100% na maprotekta. So, part of you, which is of course your habits, your nutrition, the way you carry yourself around, like yan with mask, importante pa rin yan. Kasi yan yung part mo. Do your part and the vaccine will do its part.
Pwede niyo po bang ipaliwanag sa amin kung ano po ba yung difference ng severe infection sa regular infection? Para lang alam ng mga tao. And also, can you talk about why efficacy rates vary and what does it really mean?
Oo. So, ang visual representation ng severity of a disease, for example, severe infection, nasa hospital siya, nasa ICU. critical care. Okay. As compared to a mild infection, pwedeng nasa bahay ka lang or nasa isolation facility. Ang mga simptomo lang walang panlasa, pero kaya ka lang naka-isolate para hindi ka makahawa.
And then, Doktora, on that note, correct me if I am wrong po, no? Pero all the vaccines na merong approval for use ngayon, so the 3 vaccines na merong approval for use, has a 100% efficacy rate against severe. Tama?
Yes. Yes.
Mayroon ba kayong final words po para sa mga Pilipino para mabawasan naman po yung kaba nila sa pagkuha ng bakuna?
So, masasabi ko lang is, huwag matakot. Discover together. And then report. And then, sama-sama tayo mag-inform.
Alright, cuties. Well, you just heard from Dr. Gloanne Adolor, the officer in charge of the Management Services Department at the Lung Center of the Philippines. We hope that that interview keeps you informed and hopefully lahat tayo magkakaroon ng mas maraming information about the vaccines. Again, you heard it here on Q Radio, because Q is good for you.